Henri Dutilleux was born in 1916 in France and studied as a composer at the Paris Conservatoire. He won the Rome Prize at the age of 22 and has gone on to be one of the most important French composers. Tom Service, in The Guardian, describes Dutilleux's pieces as music whose sheer attractiveness belies the refinement of his harmonic and structural imagination, and which seduces you into a faraway world of heightened feeling. Ainsi la Nuit was written by Dutilleux in 1973 through 1976, and it is without question one of his most important and greatest pieces. The work lasts nearly 20 minutes and is a complex interlocking of music of highly varied tempo and character. If we imagine the full duration of the work as existing along the x-axis here, the work can be divided into 7 major sections. After a short introduction and before the final section, come 2 nocturnes of varied length. Both of these sections, both of these rooms of the piece, happen at a tempo equal to that of a second per beat. In the center of the work come 2 litanies, animated sections with faster and more active music. The fastest tempo and most dynamic music comes in the 5th section of the work, Constellations, while the slowest music is in the 2nd section. Yet the structure gets more complicated still. Each of the first 4 movements is followed by a short parentheses, each with its own tempo and character. So the question is obvious. How does this work possibly hold together as a single movement? One way Dutilleux holds the work together is through the simple idea of progressive growth. There's a tendency, Dutilleux has said, it's almost entirely intuitive, not to present the theme in its definitive state at the beginning. There are small cells which develop bit by bit. You see the idea. It's to take something and to change it slightly, then to change it slightly again, and again, and again, until after a certain point, the original idea is deeply hidden. For Dutilleux, this process begins with the very first chord of the piece. This chord is basically made up of one interval, the perfect fifth. But there are 3 of them, stacked on top of each other and bound together in double stops across all 4 voices of the quartet. In his analysis of evolution and growth through Ainsi la Nuit, Kenneth Hesketh brought together all of the changes this chord undergoes as we progress through the piece. The listener does not really need to know how Dutilleux changes the chord from one moment to the next, because the small nature of the changes ensures that we will always be able to hear the memory of the original. Hesketh goes so far as to suggest that we don't really experience Ainsi la Nuit as an unfolding musical argument, where one idea leads us to the next, but instead as a sort of perpetual and inescapable moment of déjà vu. Indeed, Dutilleux begins the final movement of the work with the exact same chord that begins the first movement, and as the transformations begin again, it hardly feels that the work has ended, for though we have been on a beautiful and sensuous journey, we're unsure that anything has truly changed at all.